let's go that it's still just gonna be the Xerath picked up right here. Everything else should be the same up until that point. We obviously won't know what went wrong here. I'm hoping it was somebody's mouse died, right? That's fine.
Only time will tell. Regardless of what champion Scout actually locked in for themselves, assuming it was supposed to be mid lane and not top lane blind pick there, what are you looking at as BLG? You still have a support to lock in for yourself.
Yeah.
A counter option into the Alistar. No Renata, no Nico. If you want to pick something that is advantageous into the Alistar and is ranged alongside Varus, that would put Bin on, you know, tank duty, unless BLG are bold enough to say, you know what, none of us need to be a front line. You know, we're all gonna be, you know, volatile squishy. Oh, okay.
It's just Silas.
It's just Silas.
In
All
a
right.
usual situation where they don't bait us with the Xerath, I'm actually very excited for the Silas. You know, there's already a couple of really good ultis. In fact, all three of these ultis are pretty nice to be able to have as a Silas. You're stopping BLG from wanting to pick yourself anything up that's too great in terms of the ulti department. There's no way you lock Rel in here. What?
Wow. Wow.
Huh? You pick yourself Rel into Alistar, into Silas, so you give the Magnet Storm over to a team that can then use it with the Silas. I am shocked. This is the perfect game for Peyz right now. Peyz is set up so gorgeous to be able to carry this game if they're able to get even a slight advantage right here as JDG.
I will say that Alistar can only punt away so many threats. Like,
true.
It would take, you know, BLG all inning onto Peyz ulting with a Azir shuffle, Xin Zhao flying in, Rel, you know, committing with the crash down Magnastorm. You know, the beauty about dealing with Alistar is Alistar can deal with one engage with the punt, but three of them at the same time. I mean, the best you can do is look for a pulverize on the way in and then hope that Peyz gets enough distance, right? No one else really has, like, pushbacks or disengages. In fact, you know, Xin Zhao would have been nice in that regard. The only support that comes to my mind in terms of, like, an immediate get off me is, like, a Janna ult. But obviously, you know, we're not seeing Janna in this meta. But to comment on the last lock-in, it was a Ornn for Ala. So you have insane long-range engage setup. You have so many tools to start off wombo combos for this misfortune. That being said, Bloxer, your damage is pretty much limited to Scout and Peyz.
Yes. This is a game where you say, hey, Peyz, we believe in you, buddy. We trust you, and it's on him to pay it back. Now, we've seen it work plenty of times with Misfortune. We've also seen plenty of Misfortunes never get to ult, just get insta-jumped, and as you've been highlighting, Raafaa, it's not like BLG don't have ways to get themselves into the backline right now and make Peyz uncomfortable. But if this is going to be a win for JDG, if they're going to prove that they deserve to be in those top 4 teams, then he's going to have to play this one out to perfection.
The first real test for JDG in the second split. BLG, a chance to continue cementing themselves as one of the undeniable best teams in the LPL. This series is going to deliver, y'all. Let's load onto the riff for Game 1 between BLG and JDG.
Oh, so hype. Such a hype matchup.
Dude, shout out to the guy starting off the Gios for JDG's voice. He was
loud.
He was pushing it through. You could already hear the strain in his throat, but he was like, no, I'm giving my voice for my team. Respect.
Exactly. And it's always great to hear the cheers right here. 2 teams with big fan bases, very passionate fans as well. And this is the hype matchup that everybody's going to be waiting to watch. Like you said, this is the one coming into the week that everybody looked at going, yeah, this is the one that I cannot wait to see. BLG, JDG on the rift here for game number 1. We are going to have opposite sides starting for these junglers. We highlighted the junglers as some of these key carries for these teams. Jun up against Wei, and they've got themselves high priority junglers who like to get aggressive early on.
Both the Vi and the Xin Zhao have the capabilities of either going for a full clear into just going for crab and resetting, or they can look for those early plays. You know, Vault Breaker Flash, always a nice way to force a play happen somewhere. Bot lane getting a little volatile, missing, just going forward right onto On with the flash, trying to punish the fact that On was way too extended. And that's now both support flashes gone and an Ignite burned by missing.
As much as we do talk about how it's a real counter right here to have the Alistar into the rel, level 1, Alistar barely a champion at all. And you can see here, already losing out onto his flash. We're not going to have the Ignites coming through over on BLG quite yet. It's going to be not ideal for that one. Yeah, the push just going to be constant, and this is exactly what you can expect. You can win in this 2v2 in the bottom lane, but it's going to take those first items really coming through. It's going to take a little bit more time for these bottom laners really to be able to go toe-to-toe with each other. For the minute, it should just be Elk and On pushing in, getting themselves a nice early recall off as well. A good start for them. But maybe the base are going to be cancelled. Yeah, it's just going to push back Elk. This is going to delay things a bit. I think Elk's just going to have to stay in lane here. Otherwise, he's going to miss out on quite a lot.
Yep. Whew. Relatively quiet on the Summoner's Rift so far for this first game. The series between BLG and JDG, other than a little bit of scrappiness in the bottom lane, but thankfully for the AD carries, none of their summoner spells were burned. It's just supports trying to create windows of opportunity to open up space and make that laning phase that much easier for the AD carry. Some early teleports being expended, mainly by Scout, as he returns to lane with the Dark Seal and Boots Bloxer. This guy is, he's feeling confident.
Yeah, this is an aggressive pickup. This is the sort of thing you pick when you really want to try punish your opponents right here. Speaking of, we're watching huge damage going down. Once you get that level 3 onto this Misfortune Alistar bot lane, it's much easier to play out. And Jun is now in the area. Now, trying to dive onto a rel. Risky, very risky, but could potentially happen. This is the long
gambit. Wei knows that
he's
on a ward. He doesn't know he's on a ward. Shun is looming around the left side. Hasn't been spotted yet, but the pet is spotted. And Wei gives enough ground to avoid disaster from the side of JDG.
He's not going to go down, but does end up losing a little bit onto those chickens. So it's just a nice play out of Jun. Showing up, gets another ward down. You can see towards that bottom side next to his Krug's Wei. Going to be spotted out right here. Yeah, like I said, a little bit quiet for the first couple of minutes, minute and a half, until we're going to get the grubs spawning. 20 seconds until the Drake is going to be up and available. Both teams relatively okay with getting themselves as many grubs as possible. Not going to be the be-all and end-all for either of these. Can increase the split push potential right here of Bin just a little bit, but with Bin's playstyle, with Renekton as a champion, he's much more going to be about getting involved in these team fights, not necessarily looking to split push his way through.
Missing, Hex flashing over the wall, gonna get spotted by a ward in that line brush already. JDG proactive with the first lane swap in the game at 5 minutes, just a minute ahead of the first grub rotation spawn, which very telling of where JDG want to go. Hex flash from On, tries to punish Ala, getting a lot of damage down. The Ignite early, Ala forced to flash away. A piercing arrow from Elk. One more from the E, and there it is. The first kill of the game, and it is awarded to BLG.
And not ideal that On picks that one up. He would have really preferred Elk to have grabbed this one. This is really not good right here for JDG. You don't want your top laner to be losing out like that. Going to immediately have to teleport his way back in. That's now going to be a no summoners on. That means if you do want to roam people up and around to get involved in this potential grub fight, it's just not going to be able to happen. And BLG, they're also going to grab themselves this initial Chemtech Drake. The fact that the Chemtech Drake goes down this early as well, it's not going to be the soul. It opens up a lot of the best in-class souls to fight around later on. BLG, potentially they can try stack around those.
First dragon of the game goes over the BLG off the back of that proactive pick onto Ala. Now down both teleport and flash. But the pressure lopsided on the bottom side. Opens up the first grub rotation over to Shun. So we take a look back at the replay.
Yeah, you really just can't step to this wave right now. Arlen needed to respect the fact that it wasn't going to be Elk alone by himself down there. On just about able to get that last auto attack off. If he didn't, I think it might have just been okay for Arlen. Might have been able to squeak away on just a couple of HP. Instead, does go down. He doesn't lose out onto too much, and one of the joys of the Ornn, right, is that even if you are behind, you're still fine. You're still an Ornn. You're still going to be useful. You're still going to give over those ornaments to your team later on. The ulti going to be brilliant. That's why he was such a strong pickup during the lane swap meta that we had during Split 1. But you just don't want to be falling behind, right? Because if you are ahead, if you are in a good spot as Arla, the tankiness that you can bring as an Ornn is great.
Yeah. And at least for Arla's sake, if you fall behind in gold, you fall behind in minions, just, you know, being pushed into the tower, whatever. As long as you're getting experience, as long as you're getting levels,
Yes,
that's the
exactly.
crucial thing for the top laner, and specifically to Ornn, because the faster you get those levels, the faster you can start giving ornaments to yourself and the rest of your team. Way looming in the shadows of this tri-bush that is
He's looking.
pinked by BLG, but not going to go for it, not going to waste too much time here.
No, but level 6s have been ticked right here, and that's a huge benefit right now for Jun. He's going to be able to step up. If you can get that initial bit of engage right here, Vault Breaker, just to close the gap.
Flash to close the distance on a flashless Varus. Easy setup for JDG, and Peyz is the recipient of the kill.
And this is exactly what you need to do right here on the Vi. You have to be proactive with the champion. The second that Jun is able to tick that level 6, like you said, he uses all the available tools. You just have to get close enough to be able to use that cease and desist. And once you're there, it is just going to be the kill picked up. It also goes over to Peyz, that key carry that we've been highlighting during the draft phase. You need him to be ahead. He needs to be able to do that damage. Otherwise, JDG, they just don't have it in their composition.
Scout now assisting Ala on the top side. Maybe at most the flash is burned. Early flash, but Ala misses with the Ornn ultimate anyway. Now Scout gonna get in range. Gives ground and respect to Bin popping the Dominus. Doesn't want to get too close. Ala gonna take this chance to now base. And Scout could probably look to yoink the Dominus away for himself unless he wants to save his ult charge for something else in the game.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, this is a great game for the Silas, right? Once we get into the team fights, the ones you're going to really want is Knight's ulti or Ornn's ulti. But honestly, every single one works in different situations. This is a real plethora of options here for the Silas. So right now, Scout really could have just taken the Dominus, would have made himself a huge threat in individual lanes over in these split pushing lanes. Potentially, though, knows that he's going to be laning into Knight for the most part, who can just space him out, doesn't necessarily need to get close. We're going to see a bit of a collapse right here. A lot of members of JDG up towards the top side of the map. There's no grubs to take for another minute, but they can at least establish themselves a little bit of vision, grab this Scuttle Crab to make a fight around this objective that much easier. They were able to pick up the first 3, so JDG would love to be able to grab all 6.
And I think it makes more sense now that Scout doesn't hastily just yoink the Renekton ultimate, because he wants to save an ultimate charge specifically for that second rotation of grubs. And, you know, Dominus in that scenario would be super powerful, but if you grab it too early, the hijack does time out, and you're forced to use it so that it goes off cooldown sooner and you can, you know, cycle for a different ultimate. Yeah. But then it's just a wasted opportunity, right? So Scout just biding his time, waiting for that objective to actually spawn before they'll start looking for any potential ultimates to hijack.
He can take away the Streamer Shuffle right here if he wants to, if he thinks that he's going to need it coming up for the minute. Going to be more than happy to just absorb this wave. We'll take a little bit of poke right here from Light, as the Rage versus Melee matchups do, but nothing too much of a threat. You can see the many members currently collapsing around this top side of the map. Wei is on his bottom side, but is heading up at this point. Grubs have now spawned, ultimates available for everybody, including the supports.
On
no.
was trying to fish for a big Q, and Peyz is going to take a big chunk out of his health bar with the bullet time. Right as the grubs have spawned, Scout now lurching forward onto Knight, but both Emperors Divide using the same time, and he flashed to interrupt Knight on the shuffle outwards. I don't know if he has enough damage in the tank. Knight still trying to flash away. Meanwhile, JDG winning the fight in the jungle. Knight managing to escape Scout's grasp, but BLG still down their support.
Yeah, it's going to push Knight out of lane as well, mean that there's so much free time right here for Jun to be able to step up, pick up these grubs for his team. It is going to be all 6 going on over. Response will be the Drake once again. But so far, Jun has just been far more proactive than his counterpart.
Knight just TP, but he doesn't have flash. Missing has the unbreakable will. This will be an easy turret dive for JDG to perform. Knight already using the shifting sands, has got nowhere to go, and Shun will sink his fist into the face of his former mid laner.
That's going to be another kill going over. JDG pick up the feats of Warfare. And it's currently pretty even in terms of having those objectives too. This early game being explosive so far, but Jun so proactive, 100% kill participation, exactly what I want to be seeing from this Vi. This champion is so good early on. You tick that 6 and immediately start getting involved in all of the lanes, exerting your presence. Love to see it right now.
I have to say, throughout this game, even though it hasn't been that much action, hang on, Ala, no flash available.
Not again.
Finn has dominance. The flash crescent guard from Wei pushes Ala backwards.
Missing.
He throws out the brittle. Wait a minute, Missing is here. Flashing forward, knocks up Wei. Not enough damage yet. There's the call of the Forge God. It's not going to threaten Wei's life anytime soon. It's just a support and a top lane tank. Not enough damage to threaten, but Ala's life is preserved.
There we go, exactly what Missing needed to do right there. Ala, you just have to keep yourself in lane, buddy. Really just need to be useful enough come late game. Use those innate tools that the Ornn has. It's just going to be able to head back to base right now. As Missing could potentially have found a straggler in the bush, doesn't in the end. And 13 minutes into this game, there's a 1k gold lead here for JDG. Really, the gold gap has not opened up too much, but we're having first items completed now. And specifically, Sunder Sky on Jun means that he's going to be able to get into the backline and just heal so much extra survivability for this Vi.
We have some downtime. Just taking a note of how Scout and Shun have been following each other in the map for the first 12 minutes of the game. While everything was kind of calm, there was, a feint over towards the bottom side of the map where Shun, finishing his full clear, tried to set up a dive against Elkin on. Scout had the first push, was ready to make it happen, but they adapted, recognizing that Wei was in the area, tried to look for a fast play onto him. He didn't fall for it. Everything went back to normal. But you can see that when Shun has an opportunity, Scout tries to kill his wave and look for a quick rotation. Quick ulti exchange in the mid lane by Missing and Elk. And you see it reflected as well. When Scout has an opportunity, Shun tries to follow up. As now, On goes forward,
Missing.
knowing that Missing, no ultimate available anymore on the Alistar. That's an easy setup for BLG.
Yeah, it's a very squishy cow without that unbreakable available. Now we're going to get a little bit of scrap in the top lane. Bin going in, trying to get a kill onto Ala, who has to turn tail and run.
He hits level 11. He knows that he has the kill threat, but just not enough damage. Meanwhile,
hang
back
on.
in the topside jungle,
Peyz.
Wei is in Narnia. The rest of BLG forced to retreat. The bullet time almost taking On's life on the exit route. And while Bin doesn't take down Ala, he has enough pressure to look for first break.
Yeah, he can push this wave through. Ala just about going to be able to get back involved. Yeah, not quite going to be able to pick up that tower. First brick, if you could grab it right here for JDG, would secure you the feats. BLG really do want to take this one away. Actually, Bin going to chase Ala, but Missing is in the area again. He needs to be careful.
The Forge God. No flash available on Bin. Tries to dodge it. There is the knock-up from the Ram. Missing follows up the brittle damage. Gets the knock-up with the searing charge.
TP.
And a teleport is coming in. Scout is trying to collapse onto Bin. Does he have reinforcements? They're so far away. Missing.
There we go.
Another headbutt. Pulverized. A BLG solo laners getting collapsed by JDG's own.
And the tower in the bottom lane stands strong still. It's only got a couple of HP left, but the minions weren't quite able to pick that one up. Let's have a look at what we missed up in the top side of the map. Jun goes in, straight onto On, and Peyz able to take a chunk of damage out of him, then just kills Wei. And Peyz is in such a strong position. We keep talking about it, but it really is crucial. If JDG want to win this one, they need to have Peyz in a good spot. Well, he's got that Bloodthirst already completed. He's got 3 unresponded kills, and he's just in such a good spot. And actually, that first brick did go down to BLG, so it's all going to be On who can pick up the next one of these objectives to grab those feats of warfare.
Now, everything looks good for JDG. They got 6 scrubs, but BLG got 2 dragons to themselves. JDG did not pick up the first brick. That went over to BLG as well. They are only 2,000 gold down in deficit against JDG. A lot of the plays have been going JDG's way, but BLG are still competitive. They are still within striking distance. One good fight is all they need to change the course and the momentum of how this game has been progressing for JDG and give themselves control of the game once again.
Exactly. I think overall, BLG, they've got the slightly easier to execute on composition. If Knight can pull a couple of big ultis out, if you can grab those picks, it's very easy to do when you've got yourself a Varus. These team fights can come to you. It is also going to be the lethality Varus, so we're going to get plenty of poke here. It means Elk's also going to be quite far back in these team fights, makes it harder for JDG to be able to play out. They've got the front-to-back comp, but it's really just all about Peyz and what he can do. Maybe Scout can carry this one through. He's got the rower completed, you know, is in a relatively strong spot. Well, Champion's currently in the mid lane. Scout going to take away that Varus ulti. Drake is falling very quickly, though. I don't think that you can actually step up here as JDG.
Yeah, I think JDG can't really play for stealing the
Fight,
dragon. They can at least try to pick off members.
Oh, no! No!
Turn off the camera. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. No, it's not. Anyway, Rift Herald does crash into the mid lane, and BLG get a free dragon and don't get punished for it.
Yikes.
Oh, boy. Oh.
It happens. Oh, man. That's so funny. And it means that JDG, they kind of just... They don't get anything for that, right? You lose a big cooldown. The Call of the Forge God going to be down for a little bit. And Arla loses the 1v1. Doesn't manage to get himself that Ornn ulti off. I don't know if you convert that into any kills, to be fair. You know, it is pretty tricky. BLG, they've got a lot of ability to jump over walls. Yeah, maybe a flash or something. You know, it's not midway through the biggest team fight of your life around Elder Drake. You know, there's moments for that to happen. Scout gonna be able to buffer that one really nice. He stops himself from being pushed back. If Wei hits this, will become lightning, though.
Missing is here. He can only punt away one threat, and it's on. The only one that could have been in range with the flash crash down. Scout avoids any danger, still preserves his flash. Man, that second cast of the upscon abduct was so clean through the divide. Scout is playing really well in this first game.
Oh yeah, the carries right here for JDG have been stepping up, but this is what we were saying, right? The carries have been looking good recently. It's been Arla missing, who have had some questionable plays, questionable decisions going through, and this one, like you said, it's just really nice. Such a good use of the Silas mechanics, because if you get popped back right there into Wei, you die. That's just a kill straight up for BLG, and with the mid laner down, that really unlocks a lot of the map. That buys you a lot of time here as BLG, plus just the gold that you get from the kill. Well done there out of Scout to avoid that one. Knight now potentially under threat. Okay, he's just gonna walk away.
There is a lot of restraint being shown by JDG, which was definitely a concern about their performance in Split 1. Also, you know, the consistency of some of the big name carries on this squad was nowhere near what it has been so far in the second split as well. But I think a big thing, if you are a JDG fan, the way this game is playing out, you can at least be grateful for how adaptive JDG are being. They're looking for really good setups, and they're making good ideas about the game, but as soon as BLG have a good response into it, they don't overcommit. They don't throw the game away over to BLG, who would be more than capable of punishing it. It is actually JDG trying to sneak the Otacon. Lanes are pushing on every single setup. Ala just shoved out the bottom side, and at this point, I think this... I mean, it's not going down super fast, but no one from BLG can really get in. Look at the vision that's set up on the red quadrant.
You don't know either, right? Like, it would be odd to assume that currently Jun is trying to solo out the Atakan. It just takes so long. Actually, is going to re-engage. This is a masterful bait right now. Maybe it works?
But they're
when
now
do they
losing
spot
mid-prio. BLG can now brute force their way in through the river. It's a good idea, and once again, these are good ideas by JDG, but they're not overcommitting into their own folly. BLG, once they're able to muscle their way through into a response, they had to overload on the bottom side of the map just to make sure that the Otacon isn't burned down by JDG. That opens up Scout getting a free lane to himself and at least taking something else on the map, even if it wasn't the primary objective that JDG were looking for.
Yeah, I mean, still, it is quite a lot of time wasted right here for Jun, where he's just kind of having to sit, try to get himself something there onto the Atakan. They're not quite going to be able to grab it. Actually, that was nice footwork right there out of Peyz. Didn't have to blow the flash or the cleanse, and I feel like I've seen this one before. How much time do you want to spend doing this?
Yeah. I mean, it's a soft look. Obviously, there's some camps that Shun could take instead on the top side of the map. But I don't hate it. Like, if BLG
if you get it, I love it.
Yeah.
If you don't, yeah, now it's fully spotted out as well. TP's coming in. Actually, they're just going to go for
right
the fight.
He's buying as much time as he can with the Unbreakable Will. Teleport is coming in from Ala. They're trying to burst it down as much as they can. Bullet time running the choke point. Ah, you pointed way right in, but he flashes away, afraid of getting completely obliterated. Bin, now a rise to the party. Scout throws his life in, has the Crescent Guard, goes golden, buys so much time. The Otacon is secured by JDG, and somehow they make this play work. They have the Otacon GAs to revive, and it's all about picking up as many kills as they can against BLG. Peyz and Missing can look for the exit. Knight doesn't have the Emperor's Divide anymore. Missing is picked up once again, but JDG still not finding a massive gold lead unless Peyz wants to flash forward, but Bin is there, the cleanse. Oh, it was close. But it's a Summoner Spell for Summoner Spell. Now Peyz has no Summoner Spells available, but Scout is now looking for Knight. He has no Emperor's Divide, but he has a flash. Scout looking. Does he have hijack? In 3 seconds, Scout has nowhere to go. Sky. Oh my goodness, Scout is on form tonight.
Yeah, it really is. 4-2 right now on the Silas. What did I say? If you get it, I love it. Ala's gonna get jumped. Should be able to walk this one off. I'd be surprised if Elk wants to get too aggressive here. You pick up the Atakan, you get a bunch of kills off of the back of it. JDG really are here to play, but they spend so much time doing that there's now a Drake up and available, and they get to do this all over again. 2 items now completed on a ton of the key carries for JDG.
Knight is down for another 15 seconds thanks to Scout being able to take him out in the side lane. It is still a 5v4 for JDG, 3,000 HP. Wei trying to force his way in. Good
there they go.
Charge. They turn right onto the Xin Zhao. Shun secures the dragon for themselves. Denies soul point. Now here comes the fight. They already used the Ornn ultimate. Knight is back into the fight, but he's teleported right into the middle of JDG's waiting arms. And JDG are going to pick up Bird once again for themselves. The flash onto Peyz. They know he doesn't have any summoner spells. Peyz might fall, but what happens to the rest of the fight? Shun finds Ben into the backline. Scout is going to join up with him as well. JDG are destroying BLG.
They really are. It's only 24 minutes into this game, and they can push forwards right now. All of the grubs, too, to be able to threaten here onto the towers. Brilliant fighting. And JDG, they're just playing with so much confidence. We said during the draft phase that it was going to be all on Peyz. What could he do? Could he carry his team right here? Well, in fact, actually, I feel like Scout has been the main carry. Is just playing out of his mind right now. This fight is just initiated here. Ala gets to go in, and the second that he gets that knock-up onto Scout, that means the Drake's going to be secured. And it's this TP right here, not the TP you were going to be looking for, as Knight just gets insta-popped. Scout has his number in this game. And from there, you can just chase this one on. Yes, Peyz dies in the end. It's a little bit of gold back. It's something for BLG, but it feels like they are being dismantled right now by JDG.
I mean, when you see plays like this, it is peak desperation for BLG trying to get something back. But Shun and Scout are still alive and well to carry on through in Peyz's death. JDG find themselves 6,000 gold ahead against BLG.
Look at
they
the
deny
damage.
the soul point. 6 grubs, like we said before. Scout, 10 seals or 10 stacks on the Dark Seal. 3 items. And Missing with another engage. Ala's going to line up the Call of the Forge God once again. Stops Knight in his tracks as he was trying to shift forward. And Scout finds the golden left hand once again. Subdues it in his hand. And reminds him who has actually delivered a world title to the LPL.
There we go, JDG are dismantling BLG. They're going to be able to turn back around, pick themselves up the Baron, and this should be what they need to close this game out. It's going to take a miracle for BLG to be able to come back in this one. They're down by 7,000 gold. It's going to increase to 8,500 or so once this Baron falls. BLG, what can you do? It feels like they've got no options in this game.
Bro, I think EDG Scout just logged in for today.
Yeah.
What is going on? I mean, we
here.
know that Scout's peak and what it has been capable of. But throughout this entire season, there's been, you know, great performances. There's been excellent performances. This is masterclass from Scout today.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so nice to watch somebody pick up this Silas and be aggressive. We were worried about this composition out of JDG running out of damage and it all being on Peyz's shoulders. Now, Peyz is delivering, don't get me wrong, but it's Scout on this Silas. We were so sad when it wasn't that Xerath that it could have been. Hey, I'm more than happy with the Silas right here. It's being piloted so well. 10-stack Medjais, and then also you've got that upgraded Riftmaker as well from Arla's Ornn. He's in such a strong position to just be able to step forwards, and the ultis are just great. TPs, double TPs, actually.
Right onto the flank of Peyz. He still has double summoner spells available. Bin forced to retreat defensively. The Call of the Forge God lines up onto Knight, eliminating Bin. A massive knockup from Ala right under the tower. JDG are proving that they belong in the top 3 to be discussed as one of the best teams in the LPL, dismantling the 2-time LPL back-to-back champion in 2024.
Yeah, BLG just faltering right here. They're going to lose this game summarily. Less than 30 minutes. That's pretty fast for the LPL at this point. The first Nexus Tower will begin to fall. The second soon to follow. And there's really not too much that Elk and Knight can do. It would take a miracle right here. This game going to go down. It's going to be 1-0 JDG in this matchup versus BLG.
I said it before in their series against NIP that peak JDG would be Scout and Shun in sync, working hand in hand to dismantle the competition. Peyz did get a strong lead, and Peyz was one of our heroes that we talked about for Split 1, one of the consistent, reliable factors in a world where JDG were still working out the kinks, figuring out their issues and their synergy lack thereof, right?
Yeah.
But Season 2, it has been a completely different story. Peyz is still, for the most part, consistent and reliable. But now, he gets to play with the comfort and the security of a jungle mid duo that is trying to push themselves to be the best in the entire league.
Who are absolutely rolling. I mean, in this game, Jun and Scout were working so well together. Obviously, massive props here to Scout and the way that he was able to play that one out with the Silas. But Jun, the early game, how proactive this Vi was, it's what I've been hoping to see from Vi's all day, all week, honestly. I've seen a lot of Vi's, even when they win, aren't using this champion as proactively as you possibly can. But this was gorgeous in the early game, and it gives the team enough of a lead that it means that once BLG composition's kind of getting online, maybe you can start to play it out. It doesn't matter. JDG, they're already way too far ahead.